Okay, are we back? Are we good? I just hit start streaming again. Are we good? Okay. Are we good? Hi. Hello. I have no idea what happened. I literally have no idea what even just happened. I'll plug my phone in because I'm at 20% already. I mean, I use my phone to kind of keep track of stuff because I don't have a second monitor. Okay. There we go. That's gonna be in a weird spot, but that's fine. Hello, are we back? Are we back? Hopefully we're back and we can get going. Okay. Hello. That was not meant to happen. Things just started going black and my entire laptop screen just went completely black. All I can see was my mouse and I can still move around and I still heard the music. But then there was nothing I could do. Control Alt Delete wasn't doing anything. Hitting anything wasn't doing anything, so I just had to hard reset my computer. Or my laptop, rather. So hopefully we're back. And hopefully we can get this finished up, because we are very close to the end. Because we're in chapter 21 of 25. Okay, so we're going back to kind of where we were. Okay, hopefully we're good now. Hopefully we're good now. Let's finish this up. She's back, thank you. Yeah, we're good, we're back now. I haven't continued reading yet, so we're good. We're back. We're back. Yeah, literally have no idea what even happened. Everything just went black, and I could do literally nothing. So, okay. Where were we? Tessa released a sigh. I guess you're right, but you didn't have to go that far. Even I felt uncomfortable. Kyuhyun just shrugged. Oh well, now what are you going to do? I don't know. I was going to take this long weekend to relax. I know Inyuk invited Dange to spend the weekend at his place, since both their parents are out of town, Tessa replied. You do seem like you need to relax a bit, Kyuhyun made the observation. Tessa glared at him. You make it seem like I'm a mother of 6. You could be, Kyuhyun casually said as he leaned back in his chair. The look Tessa gave him. Oof. Yeah, I wouldn't appreciate those comments. Remember, we'll be teaching routines on Monday, Mr. Jung reminded the students. Have a nice weekend. As everyone was wrestling to get out of the room, Dange caught up with Inyuk. So am I just going straight to your house after school? He asked. Yeah, you dropped off all your stuff yesterday, Inyuk shrugged. Before Dange was going to say anything else. Hey, Oppa. Oh no, both Dange and Inyuk thought. Hey there, Hwajin-shi, Inyuk awkwardly greeted. No need to be so formal with me, Hwajin smiled. Hwajin, what talents do you have? Dange asked out of curiosity. Hwajin seemed stumped on how to answer. I've only really started to sing a few months ago. With the help of autotune, Dange sarcastically thought. You came here to help with your singing? Inyuk asked. Hwajin nodded as she secretly looked at Dange. And I also wanted to help with my dancing. Lies. It's all lies. She's probably only here for me. Dange thought again as he caught Hwajin looking at him. He then looked up and saw Tessa staring at them. Dange sent her a look saying, Help me. Tessa just shrugged as she entered the classroom. Dange pouted as he left Hwajin and Eunhyuk to go to his homeroom. Dong-ae sat on his seat and Miss Jo chuckled at his pitiful look. That watching giving you a hard time? She casually asked. Tell me about it, Dong-ae sighed. I've had enough of her back in Mokpo. Miss Jo smiled sadly at Dong-ae, but her gaze averted to Tessa's somewhat lonely expression. Dong-ae, I hope you can see Tessa's feelings clearly. If not, hopefully soon. Tessa leisurely walked home as she listened to her iPod. She even danced to some songs that came up, which earned her strange looks from bystanders. Which has actually happened to me one time. In college, I was walking back to the dorm room. I had both headphones in and I was dancing to a song thinking no one was around. And then I looked over my shoulder and then there's this kid with his phone out. So, yeah. He probably took a recording of me dancing with like no music. So, it's fine. She arrived home. No. She arrived home still dancing with no problem. That's awful. It's fine. It's fine. She climbed the stairs to her room to get changed into casual clothes. Tessa, you home? Jung-hee shouted from downstairs. Yeah, I'll be down in a minute, Tessa shouted as she quickly changed clothes. She wore a cut-off t-shirt with an undershirt underneath and a pair of baggy basketball shorts. She trekked downstairs as soon as she changed. Yes, Daddy dearest, she asked sweetly as she walked into the kitchen. You got mail, Jung-hee pointed to the envelope on the corner of the counter. Tessa sat in the chair and grabbed the envelope. She quickly tore it open and looked at the letter. She was a little taken aback by that letter was in English, but still read it anyway. You know who that's from, right? Jung-hee asked with a peaceful expression. Tessa nodded as she kept reading the letter. She finished reading and looked at Jung-hee. It's from my mother, back in America. She still thinks of you, Jung-hee calmly said. Tessa smiled just as a tear trickled down her cheek. Will I get to see her one day? Someday you will. I've already promised you that, Jung-hee chuckled as he hugged her. Tessa smiled brightly just before looking out the window. Is it supposed to rain tonight? It's always the rain. No matter what universe we're in, it's always the goddamn rain. Rain. Ran. You missed the letter, stupid twitch. Rain. Rain. Yes, it's always the rain. Is it supposed to rain tonight? Jung-hee followed her gaze out the window and noticed the storm clouds. It's supposed to be rainy for a few days. Twitch was like, slow down! You're too fast. Too fast, too furious. Tessa made a face before migrating to the living room and playing video games. Every now and then, Jung-hee would join her for a game or two, but he did have some things he needed to work on. She played several video games for a while, and it was now around 6:45, and Tessa was done playing Mario Party 2. I am also currently playing Mario Party 2 just for funsies, so again, psychic. As she was in the middle of switching games, the doorbell rang. Who the hell would visit here on a Thursday? Tessa thought as she looked at the direction of the door. Remember, purple text is English. Jung-hee swiftly opened the door, but then froze once he saw who was on the other side. Is Tessa here? The burly man asked in English as he stared down Jung-hee. Jung-hee turned over his left shoulder slightly. Tessa, run, he cautiously said. Tessa stood up a little and wondered what's going on. Why? What's... Run! Jung-hee shouted more assertively as he tried to block her from the man's vision. It then clicked in Tessa's mind who the man was. She quickly put her phone in her pocket and ran out the back door. Just as she ran through the yard, she heard loud rustling noises from the house. She was tempted to run back, but she knew she had to run far away. The rain was pouring at this point, but the adrenaline in Tessa kept her going. Adrenaline in her soul, something something Cody Rhodes. Anyway, shit, what's he doing here? If all the stories I've heard from Appa are true, it can only mean bad things, Tessa thought as she kept running to who knows where. After 5 minutes of running, somebody help me! Tessa stopped and looked in the alleyway to her left. She saw a young woman getting mugged. Tessa went into the fray and attempted to stop the bad guy. Another pretty young thing, the shady guy smirked. Tessa scoffed as she performed a roundhouse kick to the guy's face and knocked him out. Man, I wish I was like this in real life, man. That would be really cool. But sadly, I am not. Tessa herself was a little surprised that she managed to knock the guy out. Thank you very much, the lady formally thanked Tessa for saving her. It was nothing. Didn't even know I had it in me, Tessa chuckled a bit in reply. My name is Victoria. Is there any way I can thank you? Victoria smiled. Tessa was about to reply, but suddenly her phone rang. Yubsail? Tessa answered her phone. He's looking for you. Jung-Yi's tired, worn-out voice echoed through the phone. Tessa's eyes widened with fear as he hung up. I'm sorry, but I have to go. Be careful, Tessa quickly said before running off. She didn't know what her destination was, until she saw a specific street sign. Wait a minute. Chapter 22, Runaway Emergency, Part 2. Just a little recap. Wait a minute, the light bulb went off in Tessa's head. She pulled out her phone and dialed a certain number. After a few rings, Yubsail? Unyuk, keep your doors locked until I say so, Tessa shouted as she ran as fast as she could in the rain. What's going on? Unyuk asked as he started to panic. I'll explain later. Just help me out here. Tessa raised her voice even more as she watched the street signs to know where she's at. Just stay calm. Everything will be okay. Unyuk tried calming her down. I sure hope so. I don't know how long I can keep running, Tessa thought as she turned the corner on Silver Avenue. Unyuk, unlock your front door now. Don't open it for anyone until you see me. I'm at the door right now, Unyuk replied. Tessa ran with all her might down the street. When she saw the big gray house, she knew she would be safe. She saw the door open and she practically jumped through. Once she skidded to a stop. Quick, close the door! Unyuk closed the door and locked it. Dong-ae, who was currently staying at Unyuk's house, rushed to Tessa's side. What's going on? I have to go. Time for me to start. Have a wonderful rest of your stream. Goodbye, witch. Hope you have a great day. And it's kind of sad we're getting to the ending, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Thank you for coming in, witch. Dong-ae, who is currently staying at his house, brushed Tessa's side. What's going on? That's what I want to know, Unyuk replied as the doorbell rang. Tessa panicked as she hid behind a corner. I am not here, she sternly warned. Unyuk looked out the small window and saw the same man who was at Tessa's house earlier out the door. He unlocked it and opened the door a little. Annyeonghaseyo, Unyuk quietly greeted. Is there a girl here? The man asked, in which Unyuk barely understood a word he said. No girl here, Unyuk replied in the best English he could. The man looked angry and disappointed. Okay, I'll keep looking then. Thank you. When the man was out of sight, Unyuk locked the door again and turned around towards Tessa. What exactly is going on? Who was that guy? Tessa was about to reply, but she started feeling dizzy. She used Dong-ae as support. Just get me to the bathroom, she weakly said. Both Dong-ae and Unyuk helped her to the bathroom. After they made sure she was okay, Unyuk got her a spare set of clothes. Here's a change of clothes. Let us know if you need anything else, Unyuk softly said as he and Dong-ae left the bathroom. Both of them sat in the living room and released a sigh. I've never seen her like that, Dong-ae mumbled, but Unyuk heard him loud and clear. Unyuk released a small chuckle. It's a first for me too. Dong-ae looked at Unyuk with a worried expression. What could be wrong? he asked. Before Unyak had a chance to reply, the horrible sounds of Tessa throwing up her guts filled the whole house. I mean, if you ran like that for a long time in the rain with no breaks, you'd be throwing up too. Both Unyak and Tessa cringed, or Unyak and Donghae cringed at the sound. Should we leave her be or should we help? Donghae asked. I honestly don't know, Unyak wearily replied. She's never been like this around me, but let's leave her be for now. I need to talk to you. Donghae was a little surprised, but he knew it was coming. It's about Tessa, isn't it? You do know her feelings for you, right? Unyak asked in a serious manner. Donghae nodded slightly. Yeah, but she seems really distant and it's killing me. He still hasn't figured it out yet. Unyak inwardly smirked. There's a reason for that, and you still need to figure it out. Donghae pouted. I knew there was a catch, although I'm having trouble figuring out a way to get through to her. I know. I had that trouble when I was in your spot, Unyak said. What can I do? Donghae asked, but that's when Tessa slowly walked in the room. She walked slowly and sat down next to Donghae. Thanks for the change of clothes, she weakly mumbled. No problem, Unyak smiled a little. So, do you mind telling us what's going on? Tessa took a deep breath. My birth father is here in Seoul, looking for me. Donghae froze as he remembered the story Junggi had told him. How did you end up here? I knew it! Yes. He showed up at our door. Appa told me to run away. Somehow I ended up here, Tessa said as her eyes started brimming with tears. She ran pretty far. After the story Junggi told me about her birth father, I don't want to imagine it. Donghae felt sympathetic for Tessa. Do you want some hot chocolate? You look like you can use some, Unyak offered. Sure, thanks. Tessa quickly looked up at him and then back to the floor. Unyak got up and went to the kitchen, thus leaving Tessa and Donghae alone. Is there anything else you need? Donghae asked. Tessa kept her head down, but her eyes looked at him. Not right now. Thanks for asking, though. She still sounded weak, and it worried Donghae a little. Just rest up. Everything will be alright. Donghae did his best to comfort her. Suddenly, Tessa's phone started ringing. She was still a little too weak to even answer it. She looked at Donghae with pleading eyes. Donghae understood and answered her phone. 여보세요? If this is Donghae, then I know Tessa's safe. Junggi? Donghae questioned as Tessa's eyes sparkled a little bit. Did he look at the caller ID? Jungli weakly chuckled. Donghae nervously chuckled. You got me there. So, is Tessa safe and well? Jungli asked. Safe, yes. As for well, Donghae trailed off as he noticed Tessa's pale face. She didn't run a great distance seeing as she's at Unyak's house, Junggi reasoned. So, it's alright if we let her stay here until she gets better? Donghae asked just as Unyak came back with 3 cups of hot chocolate. That's fine with me. I trust you guys, Junggi said as he hung up. Donghae stared at the phone for a few seconds. Does your Appa always do that? The never says goodbye thing? Yeah, he tends to forget, Tessa calmly answered as she took a sip of her hot chocolate. The whole not saying goodbye on the phone, that was something that my dad did a lot. Donghae chuckled a little as he drank his hot chocolate. So, what did Pops say? Unyak asked. Pops? Donghae sarcastically replied. Oh, Junggi, Appa, and I are close. Unyak gave an encouraging thumbs up. Donghae kept staring at him miraculously. It's probably best not to question it any further, but Junggi did say she can stay here until she recovers. That's good, Unyak sighed in relief. He then looked at Tessa, who was practically asleep. She wobbled a little, but ended up falling towards her right and on Donghae's shoulder, but he didn't seem to mind. You know, she cares a lot about you, Unyak said, and snapped Donghae out of his thoughts. Donghae looked up at Unyak and sadly smiled. I know. Tessa's a very simple-minded girl when it comes down to it, Eunhyuk smirked. What do you mean by that? Donghae asked. You don't need to be big and flashy. Just make the little things count, and you've got her heart, Eunhyuk explained. Donghae then unintentionally looked at Tessa, who was sleeping peacefully. She doesn't seem like the type to accept anything fancy anyway. Eunhyuk observed how Donghae was looking at her. It took you until now to realize, huh? So, how are you going to confess? The question completely caught Donghae off guard. Huh? You know, how are you going to pour your heart out to our lovely Miss Choi Tessa? Eunhyuk said, like a cheesy game. Oh, I can fix this. You know, how are you going to pour your heart out to the lovely Miss Choi Tessa? Eunhyuk said, like a cheesy game show host. He took Donghae's confused expression and incented to continue. I know you're practically a helpless romantic when it comes to love. Donghae couldn't help but glare at him. How do you know that? Don't you remember when Onu asked, what kind of boyfriend would you be? I remembered your answer, Eunhyuk said. Oh, so do you think? Yes. Eunhyuk cut him off. She's never seen your overly romantic side yet. It'll throw her for a loop. Donghae smiled a little bit and looked at Tessa again. It feels so perfect with her in my arms. I'm such an idiot for waiting this long to realize it. Feels nice having her there in your arms, right? Eunhyuk read his mind. It's not difficult falling for a girl like Tessa. You got that right, Donghae sadly laughed. Eunhyuk smiled softly at him, but for some odd reason, you were the one that got her heart. Oh, how cute. I mean, drama-filled, yes. Rain-filled, yes. But also very cute. Chapter 23. Thank you. Oh man, we are in the closing moments here. And I'm going to take another drink. We require drama and rain. Got it. Anytime I write a story, it needs to require rain and drama. And thank you for the posture check, Melon. I was hunched over really bad. I am sitting up now. Ugh. My back is hurting, but it's fine. It's a good kind of pain. Not really, no. But thank you for the posture check. Also, the part 1 and 2. Originally I wrote that as one big long chapter, but it's like I originally wrote that as like one big long chapter, but I was like, I need to split it up. My back hurts. It's a good kind of pain. Would you like to request that to add it to the quotes? Would you like that as a quote, please? Okay, we're on chapter 23, I believe. Because I can add it if we so wish. Please? My back hurts. It's a good kind of pain. We have added the quote. I think after that you're like, no, it's not. You know, I like it just ending at, it's a good kind of pain. Let's just keep it out of context like that. It's great. Alright, here we go. It was already midnight and Donghae and Eunhyuk were still up. They started talking about random subjects, but even if they tried avoiding the subject, they always started talking about Tessa again. We know she's out, Eunhyuk commented. I think it was Zello that told me she was a heavy sleeper, Donghae chuckled. Another reason you two are a picture-perfect couple, Eunhyuk replied. Donghae shot Eunhyuk a look that was either thankful or insulted. I'm not that much of a heavy sleeper. Dude, You'd sleep through World War III if it was happening in your backyard, Eunhyuk bluntly said. Whereas this one here would wake up, walk into the battlefield, yell, "Shut the fuck up," and then go back to sleep. Donghae chuckled at Eunhyuk's theory. Sadly enough, that seems like a true story. Again, perfect for each other, Eunhyuk pestered. Why are you pushing that so much? Donghae decided to ask. Because, in my honest opinion, you kept searching for way too long, Eunhyuk answered. What do you mean? Donghae quietly asked. Eunhyuk then cleared his throat. We waste our time looking for the perfect lover instead of creating the perfect love. When the hell did you get so philosophical? Donghae asked. Eunhyuk just shrugged. Actually, I came across that quote while working on a research paper. What was the research paper about? Donghae was suddenly curious. Animal abuse. Eunhyuk simply replied as he took a drink of his soda. I mean, procrastination is a powerful thing. I can tell he's a prime-time procrastinator, Donghae sarcastically thought as he glanced at Tessa again. He noticed Tessa had progressively snuggled up closer to him. It's getting late, he mumbled. Eunhyuk nodded. Yeah, let's call it a night. Donghae released a sigh as he wrapped the blanket around both him and Tessa. Tessa woke up at around 11:15 a.m. She looked around a little bit and noticed she was incredibly close to Donghae. She stared at him for a few moments before making a move to get up. She tried not to wake Donghae up, but she thought she failed when she tripped over the table. She cringed in fear of waking him up, but failed. What the? She mumbled as she stood above Donghae. She kicked his leg gently, then with more force, then with a little more force, and he still didn't budge. That's good to know for the future, she mumbled as she made her way to the kitchen. She knows her way around Eunhyuk's house, so she didn't have a fear of being in a strange place. All she did was make herself a glass of chocolate milk before grabbing her clothes. That were now washed and clean, and heading into the bathroom. Damn my luck, she sighed as she took a shower. After about 10 minutes, she wrapped up her shower and took her time getting dressed. After putting on her clothes, she walked in the living room with the towel on her head. Is your sister's stuff still in her room? Tessa asked as she sat down on the couch. It should be, Eunhyuk replied as he stretched a little. Did you just wake up? Tessa asked as she chuckled a little. No, I woke up 10 minutes ago, Eunhyuk proudly answered. Tessa rolled her eyes as she took a look at Donghae, who was just now waking up. She said as... She rolled her eyes as she looked at Donghae, who was just now waking up. But this one is just now waking up, she said as she lightly kicked Donghae's leg. Donghae was in that incoherent state since he's still just waking up. Tessa chuckled at how cute he looked. So, the stuff's still in Sora's room? She asked Eunhyuk. Eunhyuk nodded. Yeah, so you can do your hair and makeup and get all dolled up. Tessa shot him a glare. You know better than anyone else that I never get dolled up on a regular basis like most of the girls at school. Eunhyuk chuckled. Can't you take a joke? Tessa rolled her eyes as she left the living room. Donghae just stared into space as he listened to their small banter. I'm telling you, I don't need escorts, Tessa sighed as she was being followed by Donghae and Eunhyuk back to her house. We don't know where your birth father could be right now, Eunhyuk reasoned. I would feel extremely worried if you went that long way by yourself, Donghae added. Tessa's cheeks turned a small shade of pink. What? Thanks for your concern, but I'll be alright on my own. No! Eunhyuk and Donghae shouted, and it startled Tessa. She looked at them and pouted, but let them come with her anyway. It was really quiet between the three of them. Until Tessa decided to speak up. Thanks for taking care of me yesterday. Both Eunhyuk and Donghae were surprised. There's no need to thank us. Anyone would have done what we did, Eunhyuk shrugged. Yeah, but you guys understood my situation, whereas nobody else would, Tessa said. So, thank you. Both of them were extremely touched by her thankfulness. You're too sweet, Eunhyuk gushed at as he bear-hugged Tessa. Can't breathe, Tessa managed to choke out as she was being crushed by Eunhyuk. Eunhyuk pouted as he let go of her. Tessa kept a stern look towards him, but shot a gentler look at Donghae. She took a few steps towards Donghae and gave him a small but meaningful hug. Thank you, she quietly told him as she went ahead and walked the 2 more blocks to her house. Eunhyuk and Donghae stared at her retreating figure. I know what I'm going to do, Donghae thought out loud with confidence. Oh boy, here we go. He knows what he's gonna do now. Finally. Oh man, chapter 24. Finally. Bah! Tessa yelled in frustration as she stumbled on a dance step. Wait, what? Yes, Alicia? Nope, you saw nothing. You saw literally nothing. No. No. Nope, not doing that. Nope. It was an old username that I don't use anymore, so... So, nope. Hee hee. But yeah, it was an old username that I don't use anymore, so... Zillow casually walked by her room while sipping a carton of juice. You know, I'm surprised too. I am surprised too. I can't believe I've never tried to get it before. Yeah. And checked up on her. Are you sure you don't need my help? I'm sure I don't need anyone's help, Tessa bitterly replied as she started the song from the beginning. What are you choreographing for again? Zillow asked, after he took a sip of his juice. Dance class. We need to choreograph a routine and teach it to the others, Tessa explained as she listened to the song carefully. Zillow shrugged and walked away. Tessa released a sigh as soon as Zillow was out of sight, before she was going to speak her thoughts out loud. I'm a mother, father, gentleman. Who the hell is calling me at this time? She mumbled as she picked up her phone. Yobse, are you doing anything tonight? Donghae's gentle but urgent voice echoed in Tessa's ear. Tessa blinked a couple of times before snapping back to earth. What time? I don't know. 7-ish? Donghae replied. I'm not doing anything at all. Why, what's up? Tessa asked. Can you meet me at the secret spot in the park at that time? Donghae asked. Sure, Tessa replied, and somehow the line was cut off. I wonder what he's up to. The clock read 5:13. I have about an hour and a half. Just enough time. She stopped what she was doing and decided to take a shower. As she walked across the room, she came across a picture of her and Donghae from the duet they performed. She couldn't help but smile at the memory. I wonder what he's thinking right now. Tessa was staring at herself in the mirror, contemplating what to do with her hair. After a few minutes, she released a sigh. Why am I making a big fuss about this? I never really care about any of this anyway. Maybe the love bug has struck you hard. Thank you, Morgan Freeman, Tessa sarcastically said as she looked at her up in the doorway. Was it okay? I've been working all week on my Morgan Freeman impression. Junggi smiled. You have no life, Tessa chuckled. So what am I going to do about this? She asked, referring to her hair. Patience you must have, my young Padawan, Junggi said in his best Yoda voice. I can't do a Yoda voice. My dad could do a good Yoda voice, but not me. Tessa just stared at him as she desperately tried to hide her laughter. I see you've been working on your Yoda impression as well, she said through her small chortles. You just need to relax. Look like you normally do. You're not getting married today. Are you? Junggi looked at Tessa with a curious expression. No, Appa. At least not that I know. Tessa shrugged as she pulled her hair to the side and started braiding it in a loose braid. Oh, before I forget, Jung-Yi suddenly spoke up before pulling out a letter. This is for you. What is it? Tessa asked as she finished braiding her hair. I don't know, but judging by the envelope, it's pretty important, Jung-Yi replied. Like you can tell a letter's importance just by the envelope, Tessa sarcastically replied as she set the letter on her desk. Jung-Yi just chuckled as he left her be. Tell me how it goes, he called out before completely leaving her line of sight. Tessa rolled her eyes. Such a dorky appa. She then stared at herself in the mirror. There's always that what if, and it's bugging the crap out of me, she released a sigh. Guess I'll know for sure in 15 minutes. Tessa waited with the calmest expression one can imagine as she was sitting on the awkward tree stump. She kept checking her phone for the time, even though she was 5 minutes early. The sound of branches breaking diverted Tessa's attention from the view of the city. Oh, hey, she quietly greeted. Dong-Ae released a sigh. Hey. So, why did you call? Tessa asked as she averted her gaze back to the city. Dong-Ae tried to think of a good way to word it. I honestly don't know the words to say, he mumbled. If you're not going to say anything, maybe you should just... Tessa started to reply but was cut off. I can't stand it! Dong-Ae suddenly shouted and caught Tessa off guard. What can't? Tessa tried asking him but was interrupted again. I can't stand how we are right now. Dong-Ae finally spoke his mind. I can't stand how you started acting so cold. I guess you can say that I missed you. Tessa slightly glanced at Dong-Ae, but still didn't fully look at him. Dong-Ae took her silence as a gesture to continue. I missed how we got along so well. I missed how you would always smile every time we'd see each other. I want to go back to the way things were, but this time... He suddenly grabbed her hand and laced their fingers together. I want to give us a chance. This made Tessa finally look him straight in the eyes. You... what? You know, us. Dong-Ae repeated as he flashed their hands in front of her face. Dong-Ae looked at their hands, then back to Dong-Ae. Or Tessa looked at their hands, then back to Dong-Ae. It was now her who couldn't find the words to say. Dong-Ae then squeezed her hands a little tighter as he leaned in and kissed her. Within a few seconds, Tessa found herself kissing him back. That moment felt like time had stopped for both of them. They pulled away slowly and stared into each other's eyes. This feels extremely cheesy, Tessa thought as she reflected on the scene. So, are we? Dong-Ae smiled. What do you think? He then kissed her again. Sananghae, che Tessa. Tessa smiled as well. Nado sananghae ni Dong-Ae. He was about to kiss her again, but instead he was greeted with a flick to the forehead. Ow! He winced in pain as he rubbed his forehead. Took you long enough, Tessa playfully scoffed as she slightly shoved Dong-Ae away from her. Dong-Ae just stared at her. It's not my fault, it's just in my nature. Tessa started chuckling. It's no use trying to defend yourself. Her laughter sounded like music to his ears. You really are one of a kind. Why wouldn't I be? Tessa smirked and Dong-Ae suddenly realized something. Wait a minute. You acting cold towards me. That was an act? Dong-Ae asked. Tessa nodded. Yes. You are evil, Dong-Ae pouted. Blame Chu-hyun for that. It was his bright idea. Tessa mirrored his pout. I guess we really are perfect for each other, Dong-Ae thought as he embraced Tessa in a bear hug. Ah, so cute. So cute. And then the last chapter, chapter 25, back to normal. Thank you, Yuna, for teaching your routine. Tessa, you're up, Mr. Jung called Tessa to the front. She released a sigh as she plugged in her iPod to the speaker. Alright, how would you like to go about this? Want to hop right into the choreography, or do you want to see what you'll be getting into? Let's just hop in. No, I looked away for a second. You're trying. I know you're trying. Alright, let's just hop right in, Tammy cheered, followed by the others. Don't say I didn't warn you, Tessa smirked as she started teaching. The ones who were the true dancers kept up with Tessa just fine, but as for the ones who have started out dancing, there were problems. Towards the end of the dance, she had to explain the scorpion part. In a ripple, this line is going to do the scorpion. In a ripple? What is this nonsense? Sungchul, a top student, joked. I know, crazy, right? Tessa joked along with him and continued explaining the choreography. Mr. Jung was sitting in the back as he laughed at their antics. Donghae noticed this and briefly looked back at him. Those two are always go at it when they teach routines, he explained to Donghae. Donghae nodded as he turned his attention back to Tessa. Alright, from the top with music, Tessa called out as she started the music. Everyone seemed to have fun while performing the routine, and Tessa felt proud of herself as she saw everyone's expressions through the mirror. You're back to your old self again, Key cheered. Wouldn't my old self be me in the future? Tessa wittily questioned. If I was my old self, wouldn't I have sounded like, oh, you youngsters these days, with your portable music and your glasses without lenses and your colorful hair? Oh, it was an old man voice. Never mind. People around her were laughing their heads off at her gag. A moment later, Donghae walked up and sat next to Tessa. What's all the commotion about? He asked. What's that? Didn't your parents teach you to knock? Tessa kept going with her old man voice. The laughter kept going and reassuringly held Donghae's hand. It wasn't until I caught them in the act. Scene kid? The group... Oh, didn't your parents teach you to knock? Tessa kept going with her old man voice. The laughter kept going as Tessa reassuringly held Donghae's hand. It wasn't until I caught them in the act. The group chorused with a big oh as they laughed even more. I thought Tessa had a dirty mind, Jessica chuckled. Okay, so off topic. Has anyone taken Mr. Kim's final? Key changed the subject. What about it? Crystal asked. Did anybody get number 14 right? Key asked. I answered C, Tessa replied. C? Really, Tessa? Junghyun shot her a look. When in doubt, answer C. Tessa got a little nervous under Junghyun's stare. Everyone looked at her funny. It was Sungmin who had to break it to her. Tessa, I'm sorry to tell you this, but it was a true-false question. Tessa just blinked. Your point? Donghae nudged her a little bit and then turned to the others. That reminds me of a friend I had back in Mokpo. The others started listening carefully. He answered C on everything on the test. Problem was, it was a true-false test. Everyone laughed at his joke. Suddenly, Crystal noticed Tessa and Donghae's hands. So you two are? Tessa turned her attention to Crystal. Yes, we are. She beamed a huge smile. It's about time, you two. Jonghyun half complained. You're one to talk, mister. I took 3 years to confess only to be in a relationship for 2 weeks. Tessa glared at Jonghyun. She got you good, Key laughed. Jonghyun shifted his glare to Key, and everyone chuckled along. So we can stop holding back what we really wanted to say? Jessica asked. Sure, Donghae warily replied. Hey, Tessa! Everyone diverted their attention to Ankyu, a tall girl with short brown hair. Tessa looked up at her. What is it? We're going to be performing Gentlemen with Psy. Isn't that awesome? Ankyu smiled widely, but caught Tessa completely off guard. Tessa choked on air. She couldn't muster up any words. As she was choking on air, Donghae grew worried and decided to just slap her back. Hard. Thanks, Tessa mumbled towards Donghae as she regained her breath. She turned back to Ankyu. What's this about performing Gentlemen? There was a letter sent out to the select students saying that they're going to perform Gentlemen with Psy, Ankyu explained. So that's what that letter was about. Tessa facepalmed at her forgetfulness. I actually forgot about that letter. Ankyu smiled. Now you know. It's going to be awesome performing Gentlemen practically in front of the whole world. Dude, that's amazing, Jessica smiled. I wish I were that lucky, Key added. Donghae chuckled at Tessa's dumbfounded expression. I think she still can't believe it. Tessa snapped out of her shock once again. Well, it's just an opportunity like this comes around once in a lifetime. Hey, don't take all the credit here. Both of us are going to dance with Sai. Anku practically shook Tessa. Tessa laughed as something dawned on her. You know, we haven't talked in a while. That's true, Anku smiled. She still smiles uncontrollably, Tessa chuckled. So who's your boo? Anku smiled, shifted into a smirk as her gaze landed on Dange. I'm Dange. Dange smiled at her. And you are? Seo Anku. I'm Tessa's friend and fellow groupmate. Anku smiled as she shook his hand. Groupmate? Dange was a little confused. We were put into mock idol groups freshman year, Anku explained, but we also did a few separate projects as well. Ah, the memories. Tessa looked up into practically nothing as she smiled. Wait a minute, I recognize you from somewhere, Dange pondered. Has anyone been showing you old music videos? Tessa asked. Yes, he has, Dange nodded. And you never told me you were in 57 music videos in your school career. Tessa just shrugged. You never asked. Dange rolled his eyes at her sarcasm and Key chuckled. Yep, back to normal. You bet you killed me! Tessa shouted once Sheva died in the game. We still got the checkpoint, Dange chuckled. And why would you call your boyfriend a bitch? Shouldn't I be calling you that? You jerk. Tessa pushed Dange's face with her foot. Relax, we still got the checkpoint. Dange pushed her foot away. And by the way, your feet smell like a chicken that died from a drunk driving incident. How would you know what that smells like? Tessa made a strange face as she asked him slowly. Just play the game, Dange smiled as his attention went back to their playthrough of Resident Evil 5. No, I want to keep bitching about how you killed me, Tessa pouted, but she played the game anyway. Dange just laughed it off as they continued through the level. After a few moments of gameplay later, You did it again! Tessa shrieked. I didn't do it on purpose, I swear! Dange retaliated. Jerk! Tessa called as she tackle-hugged Dange. Tessa kept lightly hitting Dange, and as he was just laughing at her. He just kissed the top of her head and continued playing the game. As for Tessa, she kept pouting but turned her attention back to the game. It took a while, but they finished the chapter of the game. After calling it quits for the moment, Tessa glared at Dange. Dange felt uncomfortable under her glare. What? What's up with that? She asked. I love you? Dange tried as he tried not to show his fear. Nice try, Tessa replied as she grabbed the pillow from the floor and flung it at him. Dange caught the first pillow but failed to see the second one. Yeah, he started to complain but was cut off by a surprise kiss from Tessa. It didn't take long before he was kissing her back. After a few moments, Tessa pulled back and flashed a picture-perfect smile. It's okay, I love you too. She then hopped up and walked towards the door. You want anything to drink? She asked. Water's just fine. Hashtag no sexy time. Dange replied as she left her room. His eyes landed on the desk with several picture frames on it. He got up and looked at each picture carefully. One of the pictures struck him as strange. The picture was of an older American woman. Probably her mother, he thought as he looked carefully at the picture. I can tell where she gets her looks. From my father. Dange turned around and found Tessa smiling sadly. If you put it that way. Well, it's more like an 80-20 split on physical appearance. Tessa shrugged and handed Dange a bottle of water. Have you ever met your mother? Dange asked. Tessa shook her head. No, but I would like to someday. Dange nodded in understanding. So, why do you have so many pictures? Memories. Tessa simply replied as she got on her tiptoes and pulled out her camera. Like so. Both of them smiled for the picture, but after the picture, Dange planted a kiss on her cheek. That's for earlier, he smirked. That was a cheap shot, Tessa pouted. Dange chuckled as he leaned in to properly kiss her this time. Better? He asked as he pulled away. Tessa just smiled as she nudged him. The look in her eyes said it all. And that is it! That is the end of Picture Imperfection, one of my personal favorites. Yay! We did it! We read another one! I loved it. Thank you! Thank you so much. Alright, so, now that we are here, rest of the week, Tomorrow we'll do Paper Mario. We'll do Chapter 7 of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Thursday is Mario Party, and Friday is more Majora's Mask. Yay! So I am hoping my laptop doesn't have a conniption again. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, Witch is live right now. Oh my god. We're gonna go raid Witch. Yeah, yes. I just saw she's live. Let's do it. Let's go raid Witch. Alright, let's go raid Witch. I'm so excited. Let's do it. So we'll see you tomorrow.